say that this is the land of the free, where freedom is whatever a man chooses it to be. And so is the law. Wesley Hardin, Billy the Kid, Jesse James. They all made their choice, and I've made mine. It's time to settle up.
Povídačky. To nekecám, fakt.
Nevím proč.
Was a Chiricahua Apache medicine man who had led a war party in revenge for a massacre against his people. The U.S. Army had attacked his tribe during his daughter's secret sunrise ceremony, and the slaughter was unspeakable. I understood his anger, as there's nothing more traumatic than seeing those you love die in a cruel and painful death.
Nevím proč, ale vždycky, když jsem v takovém lese, tak si vzpomenu na nějakou procházku po zasraných skalách někde ve Švédsku nebo v Norsku. Tam to vypadá úplně stejně, ty vole, jako v Kanadě, kurva. Mimochodem, vítám vás, halo amigos, vítám vás u další části z Call of Juarez Gunslinger. Tak si do toho pustíme. Raz je nějak vyčerpaný, že běhá, že strašně pomalu. A už nás sleduje, hejtl. Už nás sleduje. Spíše ne revolver, to mám radši.
They saw me before I saw them.
Počkej, jo, nemám žádný dostupný body. Ty vole. Já teď jsem si měl vzít spíš pušku. Já si nevezmu pušku, protože to je lepší.
They saw me before I saw them. And it crossed my mind that maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But now that the shooting has started, there was no backing down.
To on byl v té budově určitě. Kdyby viděl, že je v té budově, jak by střelil do té budovy. Haha, to si mu dobré. Takže jdeme dále. Kam zdrháš, vole? Zdrhej. To je nějak rychlej střed. Apačové, tyjo. Ještě někdo? Ukažte se, Apačové. To je ten les, ty vodopády, to je vážně nádhera. Že co tam dáme? Nabíjení během sprintu. Jo, tak to je dobrý, se hodí.
Did you find Grey Wolf?
Not at that moment, but I did find the entrance to their hideout.
Ty vole. Jako na střelnici.
A deep crevice that led to a deeper cave.
Don't tell me you went in there.
Yeah, but it's not out
Jak
of
jsou tady
bravery
ty
so much
otázky
as
vždycky.
pure angry cussedness.
OK. Jsou tu někde? Ne, nejsou to ještě indiáni, to bylo tady potom. Buď tady určitě, no, už jsou tamhle. Jak říkám, já jsem výborný střelec, už jsem se do toho dostal z té videohry.
So it was like pitch black in there?
Actually, it was pretty
Tudy
well
ne,
lit.
špatná strana, ty vole. Teď jsou louče, škoda, to nejsou ty petrolové lampy, to vypadají líp. Co nádherný střílce tady. No, náboje, to se hodí. Hodí vždycky náboje. Ale je tu někdo? A tady
How big was his cave? Big as hell, Ben. Chiricahua had hid out there during the Indian Wars.
Dobrý. Zajímavě.
They thought it was haunted with the
Pokračujeme
ghosts of
dále.
those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead ones.
Ty vole, já tak nevidím dva revolvery. Tím revolverem je to v vodě. Když se to dá, ale dvouma.
A few years back, I
Ty
was
vole, já
married
jsem
to two
to neviděl,
mescalero women.
nevidělka. Ještě jednou. Běžím. Tak kupnu a ležím. Aha.
I came upon this flooded grotto, and that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows, and I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me. As his story unfolded in my mind,
You will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow if the eye had no tears.
he said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
OK. Nech tam ty šíleně
As his
moc.
story unfolded in my mind,
You will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow if the eye had no tears.
Nabij tu pušku. Tady je jeden.
he said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior,
Ty vole,
or
kolik
something
jich tu je ještě.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the
Kažte
song
se
of the
všichni.
dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
I didn't quite get what he was saying, but there was definitely
To je
snakes.
střelnice úplná.
And indeed,
Ty
his
největší
warriors
střelnice
surrounded
zatím.
me and
Ano.
attacked me like hungry wolverines.
Legendární zbraň další.
They couldn't stop me though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk.
Ty vole. Ještě někdo? Jak vás tam ještě běží, ty vole. Konec? Ne, ještě ne? A už teď?
I swear I couldn't see any way out of this trap. But suddenly one just
Si
appeared.
to schody.
Kinda
A
like a
už se
mirror.
ukázaly schody. Takže běžíme dále. Už za chviličku budeme to zasraného Indiána.
Finally, I found myself back outside,
Až to
perched
trhá,
on the edge of a
už trhá,
precipice,
ty vole.
overlooking a thundering whitewater river. To get where I was going required several leaps of faith, but no way in hell I was turning back. I chased after him,
Počkej, na
determined
mě
to
ty
make him
zastrný
explain the
vrky, ty
meaning
vole.
of all that mumbo jumbo.
Mambo jumbo.
Jumbo is right. Are you making this all up as you go?
A few details may be fuzzy, brother, but I am relating exactly what happened to me. There were dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from on high.
Dozens.
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot of them.
At least 3 or 4.
Well, more than that, little lady.
Ty já kolikrát ještě umřu, ty já. Ještě mockrát umřu určitě.
I had a steep climb up creek ahead of me and scrambled up those
Proč
rocks
se za
like
ním
a mountain goat.
stoupal
I was determined to locate Grey Wolf
a
and
zabijel
find
úplně
out exactly
každýho,
what
koho
the hell he
potkal.
was trying to tell me. And wouldn't you know it, that crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
What kind of trap?
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches surrounding me.
100?
God be my witness.
Oh, come on. Who you kidding?
Hey, I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All right, but I'm not gonna drag this out. Where were we?
You were surrounded by 100 Apache warriors.
Well, I didn't take the time to count them exactly, but there were a lot of them.
Ještě se jde pak tady ještě někdo? Ty vole, ty všude šijou. Kde jste ty vole? Tamhle. Určitě někdo?
And in the end, a path appeared before me that I
Wow.
had not seen before.
Ty vole, tak tady to
I
bylo
followed
hodně,
as I
hodně
desperately
těžká
needed to find
přestřelka,
out
ty vole.
what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air. Never did find him. And never did collect my goddamn bounty.
Pokračujeme dále.
Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth can sometimes seem might malleable, depending upon your point of view.
Like how those dime novels make you out to be something you're not?
Jack, don't be starting trouble.
No, he's right. They do tend to exaggerate.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand.
No a Daltonové, yes. To mám nejradši.
Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory. Until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of Hraje.
I did my best, sir. We all did.
It was early morning. One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob 2 banks at the same time. 2 banks on the same damn street. Story was Bob Dalton's girl was always writing him about how he had no ambition. Well, the locals recognized the Daltons right off. Before they could get away, half the town took up arms to defend their property. The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently. First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the rooftop across the street.
Get ready, boys. They're gonna make a move.
The lawmen had been tracking the Daltons for months, and now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender.
They'll give up eventually. We just gotta wait till something bitches out.
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns. He went in there alone to confront those criminals. One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? That rifle's mine.
But he paid him no mind. He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank. Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting. A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did.
To je nejvíc dangerověc z požebříku, ty vole.
It's brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country.
Ukažte. Dobrý.
We've got company.
Heroic men like him
Čistý
did what
náboje.
other men couldn't or wouldn't to make this country free.
Is that Silas Greaves? Son of a
Jim
bitch!
and Davy Crockett
Silas
died defending
Greaves,
the
to je.
island.
Ale přesně. Jsem to já, Silas. Daltonů gangu, ty vole. Aha. Tady se oni vybrali jste to už, okay.
Over there! Silas Greaves! What the hell?
Bland! He came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons. His name was Silas Greaves, and when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Sorry, kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened. It was early evening, not high noon. The Daltons blew up a safe, and were all set to hightail it out of there. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies.
Už jsou ty Daltony.
I had been tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. And finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob 2 banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them. But they still had friends in Coffeeville.
Ty vole, jak já jsem ho nechcípnul. Já jste s ním chtěl rozdat na férovku, že jo?
Those friends came after me like a pack of wild dogs, tooth and nail. They were coming at me from all directions.
Mám tady tohle, takže tím pádem si koupím toto.
I caught sight of the Daltons running with the money and didn't want to lose them. Problem was, they knew the town better than I did. And to top it off, I found myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons pull up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths out there. They were cousins of the Daltons. And they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons. Which wasn't any surprise, because those two families have been feuding forever. And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the Smiths, pissing off the Heimhoffers, whose daughter recently married the Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There was a hell of a lot of pissed off people in coffee, but that's just the way life is sometimes. Shit happens. The Dalton boys knew I would never give up. Those Daltons weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least two of them to escape. The third brother stayed behind to plant me, just in case that trap of theirs didn't work. It was Emmett, the youngest, and he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
I ain't afraid of you, silent streets. This is where it ends for you.
He was determined to protect his brothers. I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't exactly a recipe for a long life.
I'm gonna plant you where you stand.
Tu mám vždycky docela, když nezdrám. To mi poprvé nezasáh, děláš si. Ty vole, kolik má životů? To je úplný boss fight, ty vole. Ti už Dalton, ty vole. Ty vole, kolik toho vydrží, ten má snad železný tělo, ty vole. Au. Aby to dělají si asi dosraný Red Hoodie, ty vole. To píče rošnou náboje. Ty vole. Napij to. Jo, konečně po něm, ty vole.
But Emmett Dalton survived the robbery in Coffeyville. He's the only Dalton who did.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you think put all those damn holes in him? But I have to admit, that boy had grit.
Jo, další level. Nadál se jmenuje Letoměn. Pokračujeme.
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this.
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
We'll track them to the ends of the
They seemed as determined as me to find those outlaws. But as we headed into those swamps, it was like I had my own private army. There was no way those boys were getting away this time.
It was early fall, right?
Skoč to si
Beautiful time of year.
to jsou musím baženy, ještě tady najít ježibábu. A je to ono.
It was damp and foggy as hell. It was tough to stay on a true course. So we kept an eye out for landmarks. It was autumn. The maple trees were in full color. Red as blood.
Tady rostou ty stromy, to. Hra, jaký vypráví Silas, tak je vážně libová.
Rains that year were torrential. so the whole area was flooded. The vigilantes had spread out wide. Pretty soon I couldn't see anybody.
Bury them in the swamp. Plant them where they stand.
Except for some bitches ahead of me wanting to do me harm.
Ty nejsi Shrek, já hledám Shreka, vole. Tady jsou bažiny a má to být Shrek.
I wondered why my compatriots didn't come running when they heard the shots.
Shreku.
So did you find the Daltons?
Not yet, but I did have the questionable pleasure of meeting a few of their friends.
To všichni? Nebo ještě
The boys
někdo?
had established quite a reputation by that time, so they
Viděl jsi toho
attracted all
slíka
manner of
Shreka?
riffraff
Já
to their
totiž ho tady
cause.
hledám.
Point B and I was under serious attack.
Dobře odletěl.
And my reinforcements was nowhere to be seen.
Ty vole. Nemáte běhat, máte se krýt, ty vole, pak si divíte, že dostanete hned trefu, ty vole, když se nekryjete.
But luckily, a barn materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view.
Tady dělá kukuřice. Takové bažině, ty vole. Třeba si vylez na ten strom, ty vole.
But just ended up falling inside.
So, how did you get out?
The barn doors was open. About right then, I saw some suspicious characters running for the bushes. Of course, I followed them. But that goddamn
najít
swamp was like a
krysmočálce
goddamn
z
maze,
toho
and pretty
úplně.
soon I had no goddamn idea where I was.
A už to je chrým, ty vole.
So I just started walking, and pretty soon, Steve,
No, I'm listening.
Indians surrounded me from all sides.
Já jsem máčka špatný tlačítko, ty vole. Jsem retard, vole.
There were Indians.
No, I just wanted to make sure Steve was paying attention. Now, where was I?
You were following the Daltons through a swamp?
That's right. See, Steve? Dwight's paying attention.
No, I'm listening. I was just resting my eyes.
So, where was I?
Steve si myslí, že to pohádka na dobrou noc, tak už to usíná, ty vole.
Outlaw gangs are made up of brothers. Being a brothers is their sacred thing. It's a bond like no other.
So did you ever find the damn Daltons?
Not yet, but I did find a few of their cousins. Kansans breed like rabbits. Horse Smiths or Heimhoffers or who knows what.
Bylo jich tam hodně, já jsem neměl pušku.
Bounty hunters! Stop that son of a bitch!
DS. A bomba... Bouchni. Dobrý.
But hell, what's more important than family? I bet Ben knows what I'm talking about.
Ty bažina Shreka, ty vole. Co tady všichni děláte? Tam, fuck. Co jste všichni mrtví už? Tady děláte všichni v Shrekovi bažině, ty vole. Shrek vás sem nikoho nepozval, ty vole. je tu nějaký hejzel? Oh, fuck. To ještě chválí za ten shot. Tak pochválím, tady ten shot odkud ty vole? Tam byl jenom jeden. To je špatný tlačítko. Si pletu tlačítka, ty vole, to jsou celé já. Cože dva jsou další victory. Běžím tudy má. Tyhle, já jsem je zabil jednou kulkou, oba dva. To už se říká výborný střelet triky.
I knew those Dalton boys were out there somewhere, standing together against anyone who would threaten them.
Pokračujeme dále, kde už ta loď, ty vole. Nebo Šrekův barák.
That's when I saw it. A
už tady ta
goddamn
loď.
steamboat.
A steamboat in a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
But how'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps? Guess it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern wheeler or a side wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was then that a fusillade of bullets come raining down from our house, and those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be found. But among those men that were shooting at me, I thought I saw some familiar faces.
Když se sejme ten kulomeťák, tak to v pohodě, ale sejmu ten kulomeťák. Boom.
Somewhere up there, the Daltons were waiting on me.
Schodili zvon, dělají srandu. Schazovat zvon.
Sounds like you don't give up too easy.
That's the kind of man I am, Ben. I set out to do something.
Dobrý, je po něm, nabij to.
Surrender just ain't in my nature. Plus,
Hello
I'm
there.
stubborn as hell.
Netrefil se, já taky ne, ale už jsem se trefil. To je nějaký žebřík. Co tady stavil nějaký no inženýr, ty vole?
Right about then, much to my relief, the vigilantes finally arrived. Their leader motioned at a cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons. I finally had them, after months of dogged pursuit. But it turned out that they had me.
Take him out! I'm sending you to hell!
The Daltons had played me like a fiddle.
After all this,
Apparently, the vigilantes were on their damn payroll. They didn't just want to shoot me. They wanted to burn me alive.
Upálit zaživa,
Finding
ty
my way
vole,
out of
jsou
a burning
parchanti.
labyrinth proved to be quite a
It
challenge.
was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean liner.
Well, yeah, but I was in a
Did you hear
fight.
about that ship that's been
Běž si lasy.
you're talking about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed big. I don't think
Jako Titanic, ty vole.
Stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic is unsinkable.
Oh, God.
But getting back to that steamboat, how'd you get off it, Mr. Breeze?
I took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. But somehow I managed to finally disembark. I was coughing up smoke and pretty damn pissed. I was done playing games with those boys. It was time to settle this once and for all.
Tady máte vy parchanti. Mám jenom level, jak si ho dám. Tohle, kolik vás tu je? Já vidím, jak to můžu mířit. Tak střílím náhodně, ty vole, jenom od oka. Někdy to vyjde, někdy ne.
Bob and Grad weren't about to come at me one at a time. They were in this together.
Ale jdeme na to.
Two brothers side by side, determined to take me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side.
Dva bratři proti Silasovi Gravesovi.
They got it wrong. A sad end for those two. If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds. Paroled 14 years later. He moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. And the tragic death of his two brothers. My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told. It was 1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch. I'd been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains.
No nic, tak tady to asi bude všechno pro tadyto video. Děkuji za shlédnutí, nezapomeňte dát like, odběr a tak nějaký úplně nasraný komentář. A adios.